First-person shooters, everybody's favorite kind of video games, and for good reason. You know, I mean, who doesn't like walking into a room and shooting an alien in the face with a shotgun? It's a great feeling, can't really deny that. But as much of a universal truth as it is that first-person shooters are the bee's knees, they're not all created equal. Some of them have a story, others don't. Some are about teamwork, some are not. Some are Halo, while others are clearly not Halo. There are a million distinctions that you could make about first-person shooters, but by far and away, the biggest of all distinctions that could be made is between modern and old-school shooters. A gap seemingly, on the face of it, really not that large, but when you dig down deep, you get into the nitty-gritty. It's astronomical. Old school shooters were the grandfathers of the genre. You know, the creators, the inspiration, the old white dude in the chair at the end of the second Matrix. They lit the torch that modern shooters carried on into the future. They were wildly important, vastly different, and what with all the classic revivalism going on these days, I thought it would be cool to make a video talking about just what made them the towering behemoths of dopeness that they are. So let's jump into it and see what we can pick apart. You know, a wise man once said, old school levels are a lot like women. No matter how much time you spend with them, there's always more secrets to uncover. And that wise man was me. I know, I got it. Don't worry about it. But it says something really important about old school level design, in my opinion. You know, it illustrates the central focus on exploration that classic FPS games had. They functioned almost like these massive, extended open arenas loaded with secrets and alternate pathways and event triggers that open new areas and spawn new enemies, more colored keycards than you could ever know what to possibly do with. The sense of freedom inherent in a lot of these games is so different from the linear and structured and rigorous style that modern shooters adopt. Which, you know, they have their reasons for doing that. I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying they're different, okay? And we're gonna get into that a little later in the video, but put a pin in it for now. Old school shooters were just designed with more freedom in mind. And they were always designed in a way so that you never got lost, you know? You just enjoyed exploring the area, finding cool new little things. You know, they had stuff like washrooms and little pubs sprinkled around the area that had nothing to do with the progression of the level. It was just something that made it feel like a real, living, breathing world full of fireball throwing demons and pigs just like cops. I wonder what they were going for with that one. But you just can't underestimate the importance of that kind of immersion. And a modern game that came out recently that does something like this actually is Ion Fury. You know, amazing level design, breathtaking art direction, absolutely fantastic game. It really incorporates everything that I've been talking about up until this point. So if you're looking to kind of get a bit of a taste test of that sort of stuff, give it a try. But in conclusion of this topic, old school level design founded on the pillar of freedom. God bless America. Okay, so in the previous section, I mentioned how modern shooters have their reasons for being as linear and structured and rigorous as they are. And don't get me wrong, I like some Call of Duty just as much as the next guy, but modern shooters have a huge commitment towards being narrative and as epically cinematic as possible. Old school shooters have none of that shit. You got some guns, and you got some people you gotta shoot. Easy. You know, modern shooters have young, hip, super high IQ writers who've probably seen every season of Rick and Morty at least 5 times, and they're writing some of the most beautifully constructed, intricate, philosophically, morally ambiguous narratives in all of gaming. Fantastic stuff. But old school shooters have, you know, side strafing and rocket jumping. So, say what you want about it, but it has a certain charm to it. You know, there's no frills, there's no garnish, no titty tassels. It's just strictly meat and potatoes, you know, which I think is perfect, honestly. And as a wise man once told me, not all Keanu Reeves have to be Neo, some disillusioned, edgy hacker who learns to see through the facade of reality towards some born-again savior Jesus Christ complex. Sometimes you're just John Wick. Someone stole your dog. You gotta kill him. Done. Don't let anybody fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Good graphics, innovative writing, premium rate, surprise mechanic, loot boxes, none of these things are as important as the most important of all the things. Fun. There's a ton of distinctions in gameplay between the old boys and the new kids on the block. And in my opinion, gameplay is the one metric that maps most tightly to somebody's perspective of fun. For example, in open world style games, some people like to quick travel across the land while doing fetch quests, and other people like to run for hours across the land while doing fetch quests. I'm not here to tell you which one of those things is correct. I'm just here to point out the differences, okay? And old school shooters have a lot of differences. Firstly, the speed. Probably the most well-known component of classic shooters is that they crank the movement up to 11. You know, you were just hyper booking it through the levels, ducking, dodging, weaving around all the enemies and obstacles to try to get to the most supreme location possible. There was always this super fast-paced and frenetic style of gameplay as opposed to the more realistic-ish vibe that modern games had going on, you know? It was just side-strafing carnage through endless waves of enemies, which brings me perfectly to my second point. Endless waves of enemies. There was no real rhyme or reason, just a whole shit ton of dudes with a bunch of different abilities all shooting at you at the same time, you know? You had the hit scan guys, you had the projectile guys, you had the little tiny flying or crawling guys that always made you want to rage quit. Awesome variety. And when you had them all together in a big jumble that you had to deal with in one go, it was just a delicious meal of FPS bullshit. Health packs and ammo as well, that's another good gameplay feature. Having the vital necessities for life being non-renewable resources. You gotta get out there and get it, son. You know, nobody's gonna make that bread for you. No one's gonna give you some self-regenerating health while you hide behind an obstacle like a little pansy. What do you think this is? Socialism? You gotta get out there and viciously murder your way through every single obstacle in your path while accepting every payment that comes from it, no matter how small, like a pure, true-blooded capitalist. This is something that the latest Doom game actually put out pretty well, you know? The more enemies you kill, the more health and ammo you got, making you jump into the crazy situations a lot more frequently. In fact, the most recent Doom game has incorporated almost everything that I've been talking about up until this point, and it's regarded as one of the best shooters of the last decade. What a coincidence. But at the end of the day, it's just freewheeling, quick reaction time, hyper-intensity action through some of the most well-designed and cleverly implemented levels ever created, with no regard for story or narrative, just developers saying, what is the most batshit crazy, insane, wacky thing that we can throw the player into for the most fun possible? Let's do that. Boom. Classic shooters. But that's about all I really had to say on the matter. You know, classic shooters just hold a special little place in my heart, and I thought I would talk about what I thought made them so amazing as compared to really any other kind of game out there. But if I missed anything, let me know in the comments, you know, give me some cool memories that you have of classic shooters, or, you know, talk to me about some of the key elements that you thought that I skimmed over. That would be cool. And make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that kind of stuff, and just really hope you enjoyed the video. You know, I hope to see you on the next one. Love ya. Bye-bye.